I'm booking for an Uber boat cruise. I'm now heading to the boat ride. That's why I'm here, mate. I've always wanted to do this, but every time I'm in London, I'm always in a hurry. But today I have time, so why not? It's the only attraction I'm not able to do in London now, but I'm coming back for you. Yeah. Gonna be my departure point. You're right. Which one is number 4? Number 4, yeah. Number 4. Thank you, mate. Yes, please.
Lovely. So come back from Tower.
Yeah.
You need to just get off
Yeah.
and come back on another boat.
All right.
Last one is at 6:30.
6:30.
Yeah.
I'll be
Straight
back
to
by
number
then.
4.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Hello. Excuse me. Hello. Yeah.
So this is River Thames. Apparently the cleanest river in Europe. So for a long time I've wanted to go for a cruise every time I'm in London, but it's not been possible. So today I'm doing this, guys.
I've seen everyone.
Ready for the adventure now? Yeah. That's my cruise now. Time for me to board the cruise.
Kom med og get to code this map.
Upstairs?
Yeah, straight through.
Thank you, man. Yeah, for the best views.
这个叫巴士啊，到这里再上，这是一个站。
Still have places. We're gonna Pujo now. If you want to enjoy, then sit with the views.
Thank you. The cruise is now departing, guys.
Okay, folks, thank you very much for your patience and a very good afternoon. Welcome to everybody on the Millennium Dawn. For your safety on this boat, we do come equipped with a full complement of life jackets. We have life rafts, life rings, firefighting equipment. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please remain seated and follow the instructions from either myself or another member of uniformed crew. Now, on a lighter note, we do have a fully licensed bar, tea, coffee, alcoholic beverages available downstairs. There are toilets downstairs at the very back of the boat, and as most of you know, we do have an open top deck. It is a lovely sunny day. You do get the best possible views from the upper deck. There are a few more seats available dotted around. If you prefer to stand at the back, that is absolutely fine. Just be very careful near the stairs. Okay, it will be very smooth for the most part. We do occasionally rock slightly. And now folks, just out of interest, can we please have a show of hands for those of you who understood the safety announcements loudly and clearly? Okay, fantastic. Well, that's almost everyone. Well, on the way down to Tower, We will pass many places and points of interest. Now, if you like, it is up to you. I can stand here, I can continue on the microphone, I can join you for the cruise, and I can point out places of interest along the way in the form of a live commentary. Is this okay? How about another show of hands for the commentary today? Alright, that is a lot more of you than understood the safety announcements. Okay, I can see where we are. It's not a problem. Now, we're not official tour guides, we're not paid or trained commentators. Myself and the captain, well, we are your crew. Okay, my name's Dave, I'm assisting Captain Anthony. We are employed for your safety, licensed to carry passengers. We do like to make the effort, and it is a privilege to share with you some of our local knowledge. So we'll begin with the obvious on the right. 1000 are open for the Millennium celebrations, and it was meant to be a temporary attraction. So originally intended to last only 5 years. 25 years later, and it's still here, it's still spinning, and that is because it makes a lot of money. Now, on a clear day, the London Eye, it can generate £250,000 in just one day. So they were thinking of renaming it to the Wheel of Fortune. There are, if you were to count the glass pods or capsules, there are 32 of those, and each one represents one of the 32 boroughs that make up Greater London. And it is said from the very top, you can see all 32 boroughs, and that is why it's aptly named the London Eye. As in recent years, the London Eye has become a very popular place for marriage proposals. People, they have been proposing on the London Eye. Now, personally, I wouldn't recommend it, marriage. In fact, I believe it is the second most popular place on the planet for marriage proposals. Does anybody know the first? Well, it's actually this boat. This is number one. You're quite right, somebody said it. The Eiffel Tower in Paris, of course, the most romantic place. But the London Eye does come in second. Now we'll go to the left. You see the building behind the trees, the Gothic style building. That is Whitehall Court Mansion, home to the 5-star Horse Guards Parade Hotel. Inside this building is where Sir Winston Churchill, this country's all-time Prime Minister, he had his secretive wartime offices within this building, and they have recently been open to the public. They go in there, the war room's open to the public. So you've got a 5-star hotel and the Horse Guards Parade. On the other side is the and then they have the guard ceremony. Now folks, we go up on the top deck. What we like to do at this bridge is we like to wave and smile at the people. So if you're on the top deck, don't be shy. We'll wave and smile, and if there's anybody up there, get a wave back. It just means they're on holiday. Hello, good afternoon, friendly people. So this is Charing Cross Railway Bridge. The footbridges either side are the Golden Jubilee walkways, and these were added in 2002 to celebrate the Queen's Golden Jubilee, 50 years. And to your right, the Royal Festival Hall. So Well done to the ladies. On your left, behind the bridge, Somerset House. That was a palace and a London residence and known as the Duke of Somerset. For nearly 100 years, this building was the registrar general, where they kept all the information on births, marriages and deaths for England and Wales. Can you see the archway just beneath the trees there on the left? Okay, the river used to flow through the archway into the courtyard of the Somerset House. It was only in the 1800s that the building was abandoned, so it was cut off the access. So behind the wall and beneath the road to the left is the Victoria Embankment. The houses London from River Thames. And on the left again, black and white portholes and a glass roof at the old St. Catherine. Now this ship used to be a royal guard, so those members of the royal family, they would travel here on the day. That was now as you can see, it's looking a bit sad and sorry for itself today. The royal family these days, they do have a boat, Gloriana, used to be coal, and they just leave that one there for when Harry and Meghan return to London. It is the spare box, you know. And the white ship to your left, the yellow one, is the Wellington. This was a New Zealand Navy object. And we travelled from London today to the company of Master Mariner. Now, to be a Master Mariner, this is a captain's boat, a minimum of 20 years. So it is basically an exclusive club for retired sea captains. Now here on the River Thames, well, we're not part of this company, we're not seafarers, but we are part of a much older company of rail passengers across the river. At the time, there was only one bridge, London Bridge. So if you wanted to cross the river, you paid a waterman to ferry you across. And that licence, it still exists today. And you have chosen an excellent time to travel on the river today, folks, as it is nearly high water. Over the past 5 hours, the tide has been flooding into London, and it has nearly reached a height of 7 metres. If you look along the river's wall again to the left, on the embankment, see the green moss line? Okay, that is the 7 metre mark. If you were on the river 5 hours earlier, you'd be almost 7 metres lower than you are now. So interesting to think of. They were elevated with the high tide. And the building to your right, the red brick building with the Oxo Tower, Stamford Wharf. This building was originally a cold storage meat warehouse, and it was owned by the Stock and Gravy Cube company that we have here in this country, known as Oxo. Now you may or may not have noticed there's no advertisements along the banks of the river, no golden arches, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, anything like that. And that is because we are travelling on a royal highway, a King's waterway. There is an advertisement there, apart from that tower. And the architect cleverly designed the company branding into the windows to pass this law. They were taken to court where they won their day. And it was simply a coincidence. They've had free advertisement up there for over 100 years. And on the left, see the building with the sloping roof and the arched windows. That's the old City of London, for boys. Looking very closely, and in between the arches, there are 4 figures, and they are from left to right. John Wilson, Sir Martin Baker, William Beckford, and Sir Isaac Newton. And they are 4 of this country's leading scholars. Now we've had to come into the middle of the bridge here. Okay? Normally we go through there, but we can't actually fit underneath that arch, because we have to take the centre arch. Now sometimes this boat, well, it doesn't fit underneath this bridge at all. As I mentioned earlier about the tide, as the tide rises, we lose clearance, and that is part of our discipline to in the year 1710. It was the tallest building in London, right up until 1962. Before then, it was actually illegal to build anything taller than St. Paul. Now, Sir Christopher Wren dedicated 35 years of his life into building St. Paul's, and he is buried inside, buried in the crypt, laid to rest alongside Lord Nelson and the Duke of Wellington. Now, if you visit St. Paul's, I recommend you do. It's magnificent inside and out. You can fly all the way to the top of the top, up to the Golden Gallery, and the views at the top, they are breathtaking. Quite beautiful. You have to climb 578 steps to get to. So just bear that in mind, and you are rewarded with excellent views. And the building to your right is the large chimney, and this was formerly Bankside Tower. And today the building is famously the largest modern art gallery in the world. It's Tate Modern, free and open. So it's completely free to go in the Tate Modern. And if anybody's ever seen modern art, then you'll understand why it's free. So we just passed beneath the Millennium Footbridge. Some of you might remember it from the Harry Potter film, the Half-Blood. And to go to the right, all the way over on the right, behind the trees, the white circular, then got right to the back street, and that's the exact replica of a style of playhouse that would have stood here in the entertainment area of Bankside, and it is a working replica. So inside they do reenact all of the old Shakespearean classics, and they are all played out in the traditional manner. So there's no electricity, no stage lighting, no amplification. The building is open top, so if it rains, or the actors get wet, and so does the audience. So they do not stop the performance, and this is where we get the famous expression, the show must go on. Now there's also no toilets, so it is very much to pee or not to pee. That is the question. And you can go and see a play in there, folks. It's fantastic value. You can see a play for as little as £10. I'm sure you all agree. £10 for a live commentary in London. Fantastic value. This is Southwark Road Bridge, opened in 1921, and it's very quiet. It is officially London's least used bridge. It's mainly used by professional drivers, so lorries, buses and taxis. The reason being there are back streets and slip roads for commercial vehicles because of the borough market, which is nearby in the area to our right. So part of Bankside and the London Borough of Southwark is the borough market, famous for the food and the flowers. If you've not been there already, we thoroughly recommend visiting the borough market. Especially in the evening, they have pop-up bars and restaurants. It can be quite a lively and happy place. That's located just over here ahead of us and to the right-hand side. Now folks, I think we're going to take a little detour here. It looks like we're going to the pub. So we're going to see what fancy the thing. We're nice and close to one of the oldest pubs on the banks of the River Thames. This is the Anchor Tavern on our right. Established in and this is actually the 5th London bridge to cross the river at this location. Now the Romans, they built the first ever river crossing here in around 43 AD. But this present day bridge, the one you're looking at, this was opened in 1973 by Queen Elizabeth II. With your cameras on the left, you see the name London. So this one estimated to be the, they say it's the 5th one since the Romans. Now the 4th one, the one before this one, in the late 1960s, it was taken down stone by stone. Each individual stone was numbered and it was shipped across the Atlantic, reassembled. Does anybody know where? in the United States of America, specifically in Arizona, Lake Havasu City in Arizona. That is where the old London Bridge stands today. It used to be there, and it's in America. Alternatively, on the right there's the Shard. You've probably seen that on your travels. And that is the UK's oldest building. On the 72nd floor, there is a public viewing gallery. However, they will charge you between £20 and £30 each. To save yourself some money, go up to the Sky Garden. The money you save, you spend at the bar, and you can thank me later. So the Shards, over 1,000 feet tall, goes up 95 stories. Inside the Shards, there are hotels, offices and apartments. Now the most expensive apartment, £2 million for his design, and he refused. They declined the £2 million. Instead he requested the penthouse apartments. So they agreed, they gave him the penthouse apartments. He lived up there for only 2 years. And then he sold the apartments for £48 million. And that now belongs to will.i.am, the music producer and singer, Mr. will.i.am. Now we go to the right, and you can see London's very own warship, the HMS Belfast. Now if I can draw your attention to the flag being displayed in the very front of the ship. Most of you will recognise this country's flag as the Union Jack. You've been correct on this occasion. For this flag to become a Union Jack, it must be displayed upon the wooden jack mast at the front of the British naval ship. Anywhere else, you see an identical flag on land. Well, traditionally, that's just a Union flag only. But it becomes the Union Jack upon the jack mast. Not common knowledge, but fact nonetheless. And the warship, the Belfast, a C-35 town-class cruiser, permanently moored, has been since the 1970s. It saw action during the Second World War, and it last fired its guns during the Korean campaign in the early 1950s. It was the flagship for the United Nations. It was built at the same shipyard, the same place that built the ill-fated Titanic. So that was built in the Harland of Hall shipyard in Belfast in Northern Ireland. And it is, as you can see, a floating museum. You can explore the ship at the moment. Most to the left, this is Tower Pier. Okay, this is our destination. But what we're going to do, what we're trying to do, is take a little bit past the pier. And when it is clear and safe to do so, we will turn. We can slow down slightly. And you're able to see ahead of us, there is a tug. And now this tug, at the moment, is carrying 3 barges. And these barges, they are stacked with containers. And in these containers is rubbish, garbage. Around 70% of all of London's waste and refuse transported right here on the River Thames. You can imagine each one of these containers. Construction started in 1978. They're very old indeed. And the oldest part is the centre, the square section with the 4 turrets. That's known as the White Tower or the Norman's Keep. And in there today you find the crown jewels, the king's jewellery. It's on display, guarded by the Yeoman Wardens, also known as the Eaters, and they reside in the castle. So as mentioned, the oldest part, the centre keep, all the various other surrounding components, they have the tide. You've got to be nice and close, and as we turn, we're going to be pushed away from the bridge to the incoming tide. It's a very fast flowing river, and if you are standing, please be advised, we may rock. Okay, so by all means stand and take a photo. Just remember to sit back down again. I don't want to see everybody falling over. So a lovely view on the right. Now Tower Bridge, it is unique. It's the only bridge of its kind anywhere in the world. It's both the suspension bridge and the bascule bridge. So the bascule part's in the middle section, when it opens like a double-sided drawbridge, and this will allow large ships or tall-masted vessels in and out of the city of London. And that's a lovely photo with the tug leaving London there as well, a nice unique picture. Now looking at the bridge, in each of the bridge footings beneath the towers, there is a giant counterweight mechanism. And that will cause each of the bascules to raise to up to a 90-degree position in around 45 seconds. Tower Bridge was completed in 1894, which makes it 130 years old. Now some say it looks older, but it was built in keeping with the Tower of London, which as we've already learned is considerably older, nearly 1,000 years. The Tower of London, the Tower Bridge, is only 130 years old. And it used to open frequently, about 30 times every single day. It does open occasionally, more often so in the summer months of the year. The next scheduled bridge lift is in tomorrow. Tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Okay, so about now, about this time tomorrow, just after, or just before rather, the bridge will open. That is the next scheduled bridge lift. Right then, we are going to manoeuvre for our first stop here at Tower Pier. Okay, we're just waiting for a little bit of river traffic and then we'll get you into the pier. Now I would kindly ask if you could find a seat and please remain seated for me just while we get you safely alongside the pier, folks. If you're standing at the back, that is okay. Just be aware as we come into contact with the pier, there may be a slight bump. Okay, folks, so best to find a seat. Now some travel information. Okay, please listen very carefully. This boat, we will stop here at Tower Pier for less than 10 minutes. And then we are on our way to Greenwich. Okay, we're going to continue this cruise down to Greenwich. Is anybody travelling to Greenwich today? Excellent, so are we. Please remain on board. Everybody else, please change here. Change here for the return boat back to Westminster. Okay, you can see the family there. If you want to go back to Westminster, boarding point A for the return departure. Okay, so just along the pier, and then the boats will take you back up the river to Westminster. Also change here for the tour buses. Okay, there are no buses in Greenwich, and you can rejoin your else change here. Of course, leave us here if Tower Pier is your destination. If you're leaving us at Tower. Now, before you leave us, folks, please make sure have a little look around you. Make sure you got your bags, cameras, shopping, souvenirs, and all your children. Well, thank you very much for listening throughout the cruise. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and I hope the few words from the live commentary have been of interest. As I mentioned before, we're not commentators, and we're not paid or trained tour guides. We are here as your crew. But we do get better feedback. We like to pick up the microphone. Some of the crews, they play a recorded system. So we prefer to pick up the mic. We do like to make the effort. We do this on a voluntary basis. So if you'd like to show a token of appreciation for my efforts as a guide, then you are, all of you, invited to do so upon leaving the vessel. We do have an old tradition. You will see me at the exits. I will be holding our captain's bucket. Feel free to throw anything you like into our tip bucket, which will be with me at the exit. Now, whilst the English banknotes is preferable, we can accept euros, dollars.
So we've come to the end of the cruise, guys. Hope you enjoyed the vlog, and I'll see you in the next one. This is London, baby. Cheers.